Good evening and welcome to tonight's show from DJNTV, Disc Jockey News TV. Tonight's show is brought to you by Electra Voice, DJ Event Planner, DJ Trivia, Odyssey Innovative Designs and Cases, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, and the DJNTV Insiders. All right, I think we're here. Good evening and welcome to Tuesday night. This is typically the time where, well, would be Tuesday night with Brian Red or earlier Tuesday night with Ben Stowe. Tonight, it is Tuesday night without either of them. Unfortunately, tonight Brian's got some things that came up and such, and I've been on the phone all evening talking to a lot of people about a lot of different things in the industry. So, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to let you guys know that Brian wouldn't be here tonight, because what I was thinking about doing is having a couple of you jump in tonight and we kind of share some ideas and some thoughts and have a little fun tonight in kind of a more of a DJ hangout type of an atmosphere. So thank you. Yeah, Robin, we are loyal followers. Thank you guys for being with tonight. Brian will be back next week. He had some family things that came up tonight, and of course that is number one when it comes to what we do. So when he had that, it's like, you take care of that, and he's covered for me numerous times. So that is great. I'm glad he's able to do that, and then we can kind of chat and hang out and talk about a few things. So I got quite a few. Thank you for being with. If you're watching this out on Facebook, and hey, wait, I could type this in, and it's going to go to, yes, all 7 spots. So thank you guys for being with tonight. A lot of things going on here today, the last couple of days actually, here at the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV. I've been talking on the insider area about a little bit of some of the things that have been coming up and looking into 2020. We've talked about some of those things, and geez, the phones have been literally ringing off the hook today. I did a little bit of work at the auto shop today, but I wonder if they would have like a time of how much I've been on the phone today. It's probably been like 40 minutes out of every hour at least. I've been on the phone talking to a lot of things. So, speaker, that little alto speaker that you guys got to see. If you haven't seen the videos, there's a progression. The first video this morning was showing kind of my outdoor ceremony or my outdoor wedding that I was doing under a tent. I ended up putting 4 different speakers around. Initially, I was going to do the alto and have the TS308s, 2 of the tops, they're 8-inch two-way, and the alto sub. That was going to be my dance floor sound under the tent, and then I was going to have an RCF J8 near one of the buildings so it could be pulled in case of rain, and then wireless to the Bose. Turns out that one of the altos, I kicked the stand, tripped, it took a header. I ended up taking it apart in the 3rd video that launched today. So one was at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., and noon. The noon video is where I took it apart, and I did this pretty much live. The only thing I cut out was when I went to go get the cables and such to test it. But when I put power to it, I found out I didn't need to go any farther because it was having this clicking thing going on. The alto itself, it looks fine. Everything looks good now that I put it back together. And you, again, watch the video to see what I mean by that. But the board, something happened, a chip in the board must have broken, and I can't see what's wrong with it. Everything looks fine. So my options is to buy a new one, and it's going to cost, I think, $230. So that's the route I'm going, is buying a new one, and then, I could send it in to get repaired. Well, the cabinet's got a doink in the corner. You could see that from the thumbnail. And then the board is shot, so they put a new amp in it, and then the cabinet, well, by that time, I've got a new speaker. So I think it's going to be yeah, something that's just going to sit around until I either get tired of it. Somebody mentioned making it into a passive speaker. That's an interesting thought, but I don't know if I want to have a passive speaker. I want to get rid of them all. And we're doing a garage sale here to get rid of, because some of you follow my handyman channel, some of you follow my sportsman channel. Well, we've got so much product that has come in over the last couple of probably 2 years, and I really haven't had a major clearing out. I've done a marketplace thing here and a marketplace thing there, but there's a lot of smaller stuff. So Shelton, thanks much for the love there. I appreciate that. There's a lot of gear and such, so we're going to be having a garage sale over the 4th of July weekend. Woo! For those of you who have ever heard me talk about garage sales, I absolutely hate them because they're just that type of a thing. But this is kind of a necessary evil, so we have to move that. So there's going to be different things. Yeah, that speaker is a paperweight. There's going to be some drills and tools and Bluetooth. So many Bluetooth items you can't shake a stick at. Yeah, just so much. But yeah, that's going to be coming up here in our world. So let's jump into looking at what's some of the things coming up into later in the year. Tonight's show is going to be talking about a new gear, and Brian has been talking in his videos. If you don't follow Brian Red's channel, go out on YouTube. You can find Brian S. Red. Follow his channel. He's got a couple of channels, but you'll see which one's the DJ one. Follow him there. Follow him on Facebook. But Brian was talking about the new tech that's out there, in a way that there's some that has been really advantageous for DJs that he's really liked, and he pointed out like the Maui 5 Go and his table, the new event table from ADJ, the Ape Labs lights and different things such as that, and Evolve 50s from Electro Voice. Brian, of course, for those of you who do not know, Brian had a stroke a number of years ago, so he is very limited in what he can do. He's basically got one good arm, and that means that a lot of the things that he needs to be able to set up have to be functional for a person who has a handicap such as that. So he's been utilizing these things, and he's able to utilize them and perform at a high level because this gear can do events and do them at a high level. So that's what we're going to be getting into a little bit from his side of it, and I'm sure that he'll be talking about that more, and maybe we'll hit into it at next week's show. But I wanted to kind of talk about, from my side of it, a little bit of some of the gear that has come out, and some of it that's been a flop, some of it that's been better than expected, and talking about what I've been hearing about some of this stuff, more than some of it I have experience from, some not so much. So a couple of things we'll hit, and then this probably isn't going to be a super long show tonight, but just thank you guys for being here. So let's talk about one of the biggest flops. And this past week, I think I saw 5 different people post about the little phase device. I think it's phase, isn't that what it's called? That little device you put on your turntable, and you can play music with that, or as far as it can read the movement of the deck. And MJ did a neat little video, the Will It Phase, and he was showing clips of people putting the phase thing on bicycle wheels, or they were whipping it around, what have you. Well, this past week, I was seeing videos from people who are showing their phase devices that the battery, the rechargeable battery in there, is now not lasting the length of a gig, or it's now developed a little quirk where it's not being read properly by the software. In these little devices, it's not like both of them are having issues. One of us having issues or the other, and it just seemed odd that this particular, in the last probably 6 to 7 days, that I've seen multiple posts in different chat forums from different people. It's not like the same one. For those of you who follow Arnaldo, his is probably the most popular one out there right now that has talked about it. But there are some issues with the technology, and I think that might have been one of the reasons why it took so long for them to get to market. Now, unfortunately, they're kind of getting a black eye. Some people are using them and having a great experience with those. Superfly, I don't think Superfly is with us tonight, has been using them, and I'd love to hear what Superfly, because he's out there 2 or 3 times a week, and I believe he's using those 2 or 3 times a week of what he's hearing. But so right now, for those of you who want, that phase device, certainly the verdict is out, and it's not looking right now at this exact moment. It's going to phase out. Thanks, Rez. It's going to phase out. Yeah, that it's probably going to get, it's not looking good. Now, it might be that there's a software update, but when you have battery issues where they're not lasting along, that's not generally software. While it could be a little bit, it's most likely that there's some issues within the device, and could be moisture, what have you, I don't know. But anyway, so phase is one of the things. One of the hits that came out here so far in 2019 is the Mackie, the DRM series of speakers. I'm a big fan of Electro Voice. Don't get me wrong. I love Electro Voice speakers. Mackie, I used to love the very first generation of 450s I had. I thought they were the cat's meow. They were the greatest thing. They were my first powered speakers. And as any of us who had those Italy-made versions, the very first ones, we loved them. Time changed, and they weren't as good in the second generation. And then they became da-da-da. And I haven't been a huge fan of Mackie for a number of years. Then they came out with the DRM series, and they were really starting to push those at NAMM this year when they introduced those for really the first time. And then we got a pair here, or got a set here, and we used them at proms, and we've done a couple of events with them. They have really come a long way. I mean, the sound quality, the sound pressure, the capabilities, the functionality within these cabinets. These are legit upper end speakers. For those who want to compare it to the EV, they are going to be compatible or a little bit stronger or have a little more functionality than the EKX. There's the ETX. They're probably just a hair under for volume and sound pressure of the ETX. They're close. They're between the two. ETX, EKX, and the DRM is going to be right in here somewhere. But they're a little bit cheaper than EKX. So there's definitely a price point that they've hit with these things, and the functionality of these speakers is certainly something that DJs need to take into account, because they are a legitimate piece of equipment that you could definitely look at. Some of the other Mackie cabinets, I probably wouldn't have been too quick to have you say, yeah, check them out. These, I definitely would have you check out. The biggest downfall I feel with these Mackies is that they're heavy. They're big. Those subs, heat index is expected 104-degree heat index for Saturday. Yay, not DJing this weekend. Woo. So they're huge. The subs are so big that I could put in the back of Michael's car, because Michael bought himself a car for DJing. We could put 4 subs in just because they fit exactly right. We could put 4 of the EKX subs in the back of the car. Because those Mackies are just a little bit bigger, not a huge amount, but they are bigger, a little taller, a little. We can only get 2 in there, no matter how we do. We have a lot of dead space, but meaning we can only get 2 in there. You can't get a third one in there. It's just, it would be impossible. So the DRM series of speakers from Mackie, definitely something to check out. I'm a huge fan of the EKX. That's my go-to wedding speaker. They have the horsepower for weddings, and they're a lot lighter than the Mackies. I mean, I'm going to be straight there. The Mackies weight-wise are pushing ETX weight. So, and I'm not a big fan of heavy speakers. That's why I've been loving the Evolve 50s, because they aren't that. Now, somebody might ask why I didn't use the Evolve 50s last week at that wedding under the tent. My Evolve 50s are white. Tent, mud, water. Yeah, no. I would rather use plastic cabinets, which were the altos are plastic cabinet. The sub isn't, but the tops are plastic cabinet. The Bose was going to quick, and then the J8 was plastic cabinet. So anyway, just getting off there. Okay, so the next piece of equipment I want to talk about that has been big and a lot of you are getting into is the whole Chauvet's Bluetooth. Getting into the Bluetooth lights and the Bluetooth Air. I saw a couple of posts just today showing the Bluetooth. These are the Bluetooth 4-bar. I don't know if you guys know, American DJ, ADJ, announced a version, not Bluetooth, but their version of a light tree that looks like the 4-bar. Nice little tree doing about the same price point. So just doesn't have Bluetooth technology, but for those who are looking for that quick, easy tree, ADJ also has a new one. But the 4-bar LTBT, light tree Bluetooth, let's call it, I don't know, whatever. That particular little light tree is a neat little light tree. This one I've got mixed feelings on. Yes, I own 3 of them. I actually really like them, but I don't like the stand. I mean, again, for the price point of $299 or whatever they are, I think that's what they were selling for from Guitar Center. The stand is kind of a flimsy thing. You put the top of the tree on, and it kind of has this wobble. It kind of sits cockeyed until you hold it level, and then you tighten up the thumb screw, and then it sets in. But it's not something that you can put anything on. It's just the 4 little pars is it, and you can aim those, and you've got your nice color coverage. I love the Bluetooth technology. I've had those up on the stage as dance floor floods. I took some other ones and some of the quad, the floodlights. I put those behind me, had them all linked up with the Bluetooth app, and I could control them from my device. I absolutely loved that. I actually remembered how to program them, which was a big thing because Rez, I'm going to get to the Sennheiser stuff here in just a little bit. I really like the functionality. I just wish that the brackets on those lights would be just a little more sturdy, and that the stand maybe would be just a little bit more. I don't know. I can live with the stand because once I get it holding it level and tightening it up, it stays. I'm okay with that. But the brackets, because the bag is a soft side bag, and it's a really flimsy soft side bag, it's basically like putting it into your like an overnight or backpack almost. The lights, those thin brackets can bend. So what I've been doing is when I'm done with it, I kind of loosen up those screws a little bit, those thumb screws on the lights, so then they can wiggle around, and they're not going, if they hit, they're not going to bend, they're going to just give a little bit. So BT Air, loving that concept, love that. There's a few things with the 4-bar. I've got the box right down here. I'm sorry why I'm referring to it. The 4-bar LTBT. There's some of it I love, some of it I don't, but overall, it would be something I would recommend looking at and purchasing if you're comfortable with Bluetooth technology controlling your lights. I'll be using that at pretty much most of my weddings this summer, unless I have to run my larger light show. If I run my larger light show, I'm going to be where I need to use moving head fixtures. Then I'm going to be bringing in my my Zoom, my American DJ Z4s. I don't remember what they are. It's been a while, but anyway, so I have 8 of those, and I do things with those. So that would be a mixed result. More hit than miss than not. Moving on to the next piece. Rez mentioned it. The Sennheiser, the XSW, the digital connection, which is from an XLR source to the one I have is from an XLR source to another XLR source. It's a little. I apologize I didn't bring it in. I'm not even sure if it's in my truck. I think it's in my backpack. They're about the size of your thumb, and they will, go on to a regular microphone. So, like if it would be here, it would be about stick out. It's about the circumference of this, and it would go about and then that would allow me to use this microphone. Actually, I'm not sure if it would. I think it has phantom power. I don't remember, but anyway, it would hook up to a microphone, and then it would allow me to run that microphone remotely, so I could have it where that became a wireless microphone. So I could plug one side into the board, and I could plug the other side in here. And by the way, that little piece is like $250, maybe somewhere in that ballpark. And then I would have a wireless microphone. Initially, what I was wanting to do is I wanted to buy the one that went from that microphone to the 1/8-inch jack to go into my camera. So when we're doing trade shows, we could have one on the camera and the other, and then I could be, hey. I have one of the G4 series units, which is the bigger block, which I am actually doing some testing with that one because I'm trying to do that transmitter going into 2 receivers. And I had started setting it all up and such yesterday, and then I realized I didn't have any more AA batteries, and then I went in the house, and then I got email, and then I got this. Anyway, so the XSW system, a nice little system, rechargeable system. You plug it into your, it's a USB-C connection, plug that in, charge them up, and you're good to go. It's supposed to have about 5-hour runtime. At that wedding on Saturday, I used that I came out of the back of the Alto. Now, the negative thing with the back of the Alto is that you go into the Alto sub, and then it has the crossover, and then it sends either a full range or it sends the low-frequency roll-off to the top. So I was kind of playing back and forth, and I think it's not really super clear if in is full range or if in is the roll-off. I'm not sure, and I couldn't tell the difference. But I was sending that signal then from the back of the Alto top out to the Bose. And I was a good 120 feet away at a kind of a kitty corner angle there, going through a tent, so it wasn't a big thing. And then that did the sound. It ran for about 4.5 hours. I was hoping to go for about 5 hours, but it got to the point where it was starting to get dark, and there was humidity in the air, and I really didn't need that one going because I had the other speaker, and people were kind of moving away from the area in which that speaker covered, so I just took it down and pulled it in. So it ran 4.5 hours. The Bose, the S1 Pro, ran 4.5 hours without a problem, and I just didn't run it as long. I could have run it the whole time, but I didn't. I mean, I could have brought it in, turned it down, and then just see how many hours it was going to give me. Overall, I'm going to give this one a big thumbs up, though. I've really been happy about it. I'm kind of glad that the shipment got messed up and I got this one because I'm loving that I can hook it up and run a speaker, and I don't have any noticeable latency with it. I mean, distance will give me latency. So if I have that speaker back at me and I've got the main speakers down and I have this coming back at me, just because the sound has to come back so far, I'll hear latency that way. But if I have it where I'm equal distance from both the wireless speaker and the wired speaker, I can't tell a difference in the latency. There could be a little off, whatever, but it's so close that I can't detect it with my ear. So I have only had cutouts with that. If I've gone in this building, I had it about middle of the building, and then it goes through I went outside, so I went through a metal wall. If you watch one of my videos, I'm out walking with that Bose speaker, and you really can't hear the audio, and it was kind of intentional because I didn't want to have YouTube slap me and spank me with that. But I walked out, and I got to about 150 feet, and then all of a sudden it cut out. You'll actually see as I'm going along, I'm about 125 feet, give or take. And all of a sudden, the audio starts going out. And it's like, oh, wait, that's the end of a song. And the next song's starting. So, yeah, I think you could have two of those. And I believe that you can get those, and they're going to be on slightly different frequencies. And you could literally run those two from your board, two different speakers, and because they pair up and they sync up, so you can run them to two different speakers. So you could have your here, and then you run your wireless over there, and yeah, you'd have sound where you need it, and there's no wires whatsoever. Chris, there, I think you're right on, and I'm going to be looking at making a complete wireless sound system for ceremony, going this route. And I'm not going to do it like some where they've really put a lot of they custom fit everything, because a lot of the things I do are semi-modular, because sometimes I'm doing this type of event and I need a couple of pieces, and sometimes I need this. I'm just going to have it where I have the pieces and I can put them together, and then I can take the wires and wrap them all over and lay them on top of things and over people. Yeah, just because Jimmy enjoys how I manage my wires so much, I want to make sure I make them look as absolutely horrible as possible. Then, and only then, will we be happy with cord management. So anyway, so that's another the Sennheiser is definitely a hit. And the G4 system, by the way, that I have with the others that I'm using for trade shows, absolutely love that, because I can go and I can walk halfway down a busy trade show talking, and there's all people using all sorts of electronics and their phones and doing this and that and the other thing, and it sounds absolutely fabulous. It works well. I can be way out of sight talking to our camera person. It's like, okay, I'm going to come around the corner now in about 3 seconds. I'll be coming in and make sure I'm at 3, 2, and then they zoomed way out and then came in and got this weird shots. We played with that a little bit, so it's pretty cool. So yeah, Robin had the link up on top there for that Sennheiser piece. So make sure you jump out and grab that. Okay, continuing on. There was another piece of gear I wanted to talk about. We talked about the Bluetooth. We talked about, so some of you have been seeing inexpensive microphones that have, and I've one of the videos I did was on a Phoenix, I think it was Phoenix mic, but it's basically some of these Chinese direct companies were really trying to push some wireless microphones this spring. And I have tested, I think, 4 of them now. You've seen one video. There's a lot of gear that comes through this office that you guys do not get to see. Some of it's Bluetooth things, some of it's in this case wireless microphone. One of those 4, the one you saw was the Phoenix. It was a 4-channel. It was like something 5,000. I don't remember what it is. Wasn't a bad. The sound of the microphone, I should have done a better video. I compared it to an SM58. I should have done a better speaker system and recording so you guys could hear better. What you end up picking up is that the SM58 and that sounded about the same, which for that application, it could have sounded better. So you'd have been able to say, oh yeah, they both sound equally good, as opposed to this time they were like, both sound equally Anyway, that one's not a bad system. Now, the other ones, one of the Chinese ones that were sent out were in the frequency range that is now T-Mobile's. So when it got here, all you were hearing was there was no way to really tune it in because we have a tower somewhere close enough. I didn't think we had a tower close enough. We literally couldn't pull. And that's the only thing I could come up with, is that it's in that range that Ben has talked about. So don't go, make sure you're watching if you're buying something off Amazon, make sure you're watching, or get it from a reputable dealer like Ben who will sell you what you need. Because even some frequency bands are better here in Minnesota than they are in California, than they are in Texas, and that kind of a thing. So you want to make sure of that. The other two really sucked so bad. Going back to the VHF days, the old VHF where we had that little thing, or actually going back even a step farther, when we had the very first Radio Shack, my first wireless microphone was a Radio Shack FM microphone. These were about that quality. It's like, really, somebody's making a mic this bad? And they were in UHF bandwidth. They were just so poor in their reception and different things. So the moral of my story here is there's a lot of cheap gear out on Amazon. Some things you can buy and they're not too bad. I mean, I've got some Chinese lights. Some of you know about those Chinese lights that we talked about, moving head fixtures, and they've been fine for what I needed them for. They're not the ones that I would use when I needed to have something that's more critical, but they've worked fine. A lot of the things that are out there, it's disposable gear. You use it, and if it gets you through a gig, you've now in essence made your money with it. If I get 2 gigs out of it, wow. If I don't, if I throw it away because it crapped out, so be it. One of the microphones, actually, as you know, with a wireless microphone, you have to unscrew it and put batteries in. One of them, it literally wouldn't. It was like jammed. So I and beep, snapped it. So make sure when you do have any gear come in, even a higher end rate, you got to take the stuff, make sure you test it and use it multiple days in advance if you possibly can to make sure that it's going to work. So yeah, Gus, those FM mics, those were something back then. And of course, when we had that very first one, we thought that was the coolest thing. Yeah, research. Oh, yeah, the Radio Shack things. And then, of course, I got into the Audio Technica and the Shure stuff. And I thought when I got my first VHF Shure, I thought I had the world's greatest microphone. And I was so proud of it because I sounded so great when I was behind my system. And I remember the first wedding that it occurred to me, again, we're talking very early 90s, like 89, 90. It occurred to me that, wow, my wireless microphone at this time was the Radio Shack FM. I sound okay here. I can hand them at the head table this microphone and they can do the toast from over there. Because prior to this, they would either do the toast without amplification at events, or it was a wired microphone that was into the venue, the old thing that Oom-Pa-Pa bands would use up in the ceiling kind of a thing. So this was like, I'm going to be the coolest guy handing them this FM microphone. And of course it cuts out and it drops and it does this and making weird little noises and gone. So yeah, that was not fun. A couple of other things I want to put on your radar, and this is going to be coming from the hardware show. One cart. The video went live, I think today, and I don't remember which channel it went live on, but there's a company called DBEST, D-B-E-S-T products. And you can go out and check, do search for no space, DBEST. What this guy is he was on Shark Tank, and he has these little carts, and he's got a variety of different carts. Some are little 2-wheel carts where you can put your things in when you're shopping and roll them around, and there's others that are doing this and doing that. The one I want you to take a look at when you get a chance is go onto their website, and there's a stair climbing cart, which we've seen these before, where they've got the 3 wheels, 1, 2, 3 wheels, and they kind of go up the stairs. What's neat about this one is that there's 4 sets of those wheels on it. So it's a 4-wheel stair climbing cart. Now, this isn't going to be great for every application, but I was looking at that today as I was putting that together, because when I'm shooting these things, sometimes, you're shooting, you're paying attention, and you're not really seeing what's there. You're just worried about keeping it in the frame. As I was looking at this today, it's like, gosh, that's a really cool cart. And if you find the video, and I'm sorry, I don't remember if I put it on Sportsman or the other. So, yeah, you can go on, you can check that out. Because that cart is, I think, something that in the DJ industry, they had a couple of them there that could be really, really quite neat. And then tomorrow, I think I'm going to get another one called a carry cart. I think it's K-E-R-R-Y, and then K-A-R-T. Carry cart's another one that actually is more intriguing, because not only will this be a flatbed cart, but it's also a ladder. It converts into a ladder. So it's like a 2-wheeler. It converts into a flatbed truck or flatbed cart that can handle like 600 pounds. And then it becomes this 3-step ladder. So for times when you're setting up a light show and you need to be able to climb up a little bit, oh my gosh, when I saw that piece, it's like, this is awesome. And we'll be getting into that. So anyway, so that's just a few pieces of gear. Coming up later this year, well, you probably have heard about the Newmark, the mixer. MJ did some video on that. Good deal with that. MJ did some video on the new Newmark mixer. There's going to be a couple more controllers coming out here in 2019 that we're going to have. Oh, that's quite all right. Quite all right, Bill. I'm gonna put that link in the description so we can open up the chat. You guys can do a hangout tonight here. Did you 4Channel? But there's going to be a couple new controllers coming out from some of the big name companies that we're going to see. I don't think we're going to. We might see one. Pioneer might have something for DJ Expo. I don't think Denon's going to have anything for DJ Expo. They might. I think Denon's going to really be still focusing on the Prime because they came out, that Newmark, the new one from Newmark is really taking a lot of their resources. But later this year, you're going to see something between now and the end of the year from Denon. And I think a lot of us are going to be like, oh my gosh, this is a kind of like when we had the DJ to Go 2 and we were so excited because that became a viable backup that you could put in your backpack. Well, Denon's coming out not with something that small, but they're coming out with a controller that's going to fit in to our different types of shows we do very, very well. So I'm kind of excited about that. And you guys can you'll find out more information about that as we go forward. But the folks over at Denon have just been crazy with a bunch of things there, getting ready for the summer as they're going through. And a lot of you might be familiar with Sweetwater Music. Sweetwater Music just had a huge event this past week. They have basically a dealer day on their campus down in Indiana there, and they had thousands upon thousands of people come to this event. It's become probably music-wise one of the biggest events out there, and this happens at their campus. They're a huge company. I didn't realize how big Sweetwater Music was until we start looking at this event. Just crazy. Brian is out tonight with a family. He's doing some things with family tonight, so he won't be on the show. You heard the doorbell. No, that wasn't Brian. That was someone else popping in here and such. Because I put the link in the insider area because we're going to do. I'm going to drop it here for you guys. I'm going to put the link actually everywhere. I could put the link everywhere at once. Woo! Join in here for Hangout because I'm going to wrap the show up tonight here in a second, and then you guys can jump in and have a little time to chat and hang out and talk shop here once we shut the video off. So thank you guys for being with. We'll be back again next week. Tomorrow night, actually, MJ is going to be live doing a music and mixing show here on DJNTV, so you guys can join him. I think he's at 9 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night, but you guys can find that video player. And that'll be Wednesday. And then, this weekend, I've got some videos I want to shoot. It's going to be 105 degrees on Saturday. So, yay, looking forward to that heat index. So, it's only going to be like 97, I think, temperature-wise. But it's going to be a warm weekend, and we're going to try to get a few more videos out because I've got a couple of things here you guys need to check out. So, once again, thanks for watching. The Hangout link, join me there, and we'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye.